Hey guys, Andrea here. Now we are celebrating one hell of an achievement on the channel, 500 subscribers. So Deb was like, oh crap, I've got to appear on the channel again.
Hey everyone.
So
500, I can't believe it. Good on you.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that.
Now also, we are changing the direction of the channel to do much more out and about, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely. More out and about stuff and more inward focused on the NDIS, I guess, as far as because there's been so many changes and there will continue to be a lot of changes. We've got, it's not a new government, but we've got new people in heads of government. So there will be a lot of changes, and trying to keep up with those changes is going to get pretty interesting, I think, everybody. So we'll see how we go.
And for those of you who are following the podcast, we're in the process of looking for a studio or location as well.
Well, we're in the park at the moment, so it might be it for a little while.
Yeah, as well. And now, shed update.
Well, the sliding glass door is in.
Ooh,
so all the windows and doors are in. The electrician's been and roughed in the electrics. So now we're on a mission to finish off the walls, the lining of the walls and the ceiling. And we'll put the holes in for the lights. So we full fluorescent lights in the shed. And then we'll get him to come back. I think we'll paint. I had kind of thought about oiling the boards, but I just, I just kind of like, don't know, I think I'll paint. So we'll go with a white ceiling and then maybe an eggshell blue walls. I'm not sure yet. We need thinking colours. Because it's
we'll have to do one on colour theory.
Yeah, we will. Because I know the yellows and oranges are kind of thinking colours, but but I'm not sure I could do an orange shed. No, or an orange office. I don't think I could cope with that. So yeah, and I was on my way down to the Gold Coast the other day, and I picked up carpet tiles to do the floor. And my beautiful sister gave me a large portable air conditioner that does reverse cycle that will do the shed really nicely. So yes, so hopefully in another month we'll actually be moving into it, which would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know what I'm going to do with all the crap that was there.
So in our location, we do have
declutter.
A lot of groups where it's stop, think, reuse. Hey, I can't use these.
Yeah.
But can someone else use them? Or things like that as well. And for those who know, you've seen them on the Instagram, Archie, how's Archie doing?
Oh, he is doing very well. He's been a little noisy just lately. There seems to have been a bit of traffic through the house lately, so he's but whenever my new support coordinator David goes outside, at the moment we've got 6 monitors and 3 computers in the lounge room. My new support coordinator David is sitting on the Horn sewing desk. I don't know if you know them, but they kind of fold out, so it's folded out into an L shape, and he's perched the Horn sewing desk at the moment until we can get into the shed. But no, Archie's doing very well. He's got a bit of a thing on one of his paws, and Rosie took him to the vet, and it's turned out it's a benign tumour. So they're not going to worry about doing anything with that. So that's good. But yeah, he was very excited this morning for something. He must have slept very well last night, and he just wanted to play this morning so much. So I was trying to have my breakfast, and he kept bringing his toy bone back to me and dropping it and barking at me. So of course this is inside, so
no. And I know we're both on limited time at the moment, but if you want to just do a rundown of NDIA changes that people have got to be aware of.
Please,
Like when
yes.
we've got a studio, we'll have to do a long form on it. But
Yes. Just ignore that. That's my phone. Well, the NDIA, that last piece of legislation in October was quite interesting, and they did put some things through that are coming through now that are starting to impact people. So with the new PACE plans, as the new plans are being formulated, they will be 12 months initially. They're looking at different reasons why they would do them or pass the funding through in 3-month blocks.
yeah.
Now,
Is that going back to the future of block funding?
Well, I'm wondering whether, because how do you determine, like you've got 560,000 people or, well, more on the NDIS now. So how do you determine who's going to be on the 3-month plan, and how is that going to work? Are they going to release 3 months worth of funding so everybody has to have service agreements for just 3 months? And how does that work with invoicing? When that 3 month is ended, it extends into the next 3 months. To my way of thinking, it's very similar to an extension on a plan at the moment. So the dates extend out and you would get another 3 months worth of funding. So the invoicing, I think we'd still look at the 12-month service agreement.
Yeah.
And this is going to really affect allied health. I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to rein in the fraud. I get that. But allied health people, when you've got an OT functional or an assessment in psychology, you might need 3,000 or 2,500 or 2,000 even in that time period. If that's not available, how do we manage that? Do we have to leave those assessments and make sure that we've got that funding to, the third quarter when we've built up enough money in that capacity building to be able to do those assessments?
Yeah.
What about if we've got someone that's just coming on board, or they've just had an extended plan, or something's happened, something major's happened, and there's been, maybe a person has been cruising along and then they've had a stroke. And then we've got this thing where all of a sudden we're needing wheelchair and we're needing all kinds of things done. If there's not the funding in capacity building, how are we going to get those assessments done? Yeah. So there's some questions around this idea of the 3-month funding. I believe with CORE, I think that is a very good place to do that.
Yes.
I don't believe that we've had a lot of allied health providers going out of their way to defraud the NDIS. No. I think it's more in the core funding area because it's flexible, and it's because of that flexibility they've been able to draw more than what they should have, from different areas. So, it's like if you've got a negative in community access and there's a positive in daily living, and they balance each other, and then that's okay according to NDIS. They won't do anything for you if you're running out of money in core. They won't do anything until you've got less than $1,000 in core funding. So that's when they'll go, okay, we will escalate this now. But if you're in a SIL and your community access team has been drawing extra funds, or you've stepped outside of what you should have been doing with your community access, and created that issue yourself, they are not going to come back and go, oh, well, we'll change that.
No.
It used to be if you got down to under $1,000, you could call basically an emergency plan meeting and have it looked at pretty much straight away. But that's gone out the window. So if they can turn around and say, well, you use the funding inappropriately, we're not going to top you up. There's no more top-ups, that's it. Bang. And then what do you do? Like, you're putting people at risk. And, when it comes down to that, we really have to look at pushing that risk and safety with the NDIS. However, the NDIS is looking for who they can make accountable for it. So they'll look at support coordinators because, oh, you didn't keep an eye enough on the funding. They'll look at plan managers, oh, you didn't do the right thing with the funding. You allowed those invoices to go through. So
look at psychosocial recovery coaches if they don't qualify for support or anything like that? Because
well, the psychosocial recovery coach typically shouldn't be needing to look at funding and how funding's been utilised. But I've had a client that's or a participant that, you know, had done a whole week of sleepovers, which I didn't know about. And then when the monthly statement came in from the plan manager, I'm like, what the hell? What is this invoice? What's going on? How come you've used so much of your funding? Oh, well, I needed that.
So is this...
So, you know, and as much as you explain to people sometimes, getting them to understand when they look at a bulk amount of money, you know, it might be 100,000 or, you know, 150,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, and they'll go, but I've got this amount of money. Yes, but you've got to spread it across 12 months. And that's what the NDIS is trying to do. They're trying to make sure that that funding lasts you for the 12 months. So I can't see it working properly with capacity building.
Yeah.
I do understand why they would implement it with core. But in order to do that, you really need to split off consumables and transport.
Yeah.
And just do it as core, as flexible, core being community access and daily living or home and living. Like, that's got to be your flexible areas then. And that's the way that they can pull that back and reduce that and make that work. But, I mean, a lot of people expect more and more transport funding all the time. They've got to understand that transport is a contribution. It's not going to cover all of it.
No. And also, is this where, because I'm very aware of my own margins of sewing today, is this where you should, I've heard the old adage of there's 4 people that you should always be honest with: your doctors, your specialists, your lawyer and your accountant. Should we also now add your support coordinators and plan managers? Absolutely.
If you're overutilising your funding, you know, it might be the monthly statement before your support coordinator picks up on it, and you could have used an extra 20% in that time. So, you know, this is why the NDIS is going, we're going to get control of this. And it is about control. It is about control of funding. It is about control of how you're spending your money. But unfortunately, it's come to this because they can't stop the fraud.
No.
It's an impossibility to stop that fraud happening, and it may well still happen even with this idea of the 3 monthly thing. You'll get people that, you know, companies will clean you out in 2 months and then wait for, you know, and then you'll have nothing for a month, and then they'll wait for the next block to come. The idea is that if we're catching that fraud earlier and we're stepping on that, and look, I've got an unregistered service provider who is totally taking more funding than he should, and I just can't get hold of him. I've emailed, I've phoned, I've tried the participant, emailing, phoning. He is getting a copy of the monthly statements sent to his home address. I've questioned the plan manager. The plan manager's gone, well, they spoke with the participant. The participants agreed that he can have that. So, I mean, this is a problem. There's so many different influences for participants. And, you know, building that trust, and, you know, once you've lost that trust, you know, I've basically going to disengage from that participant because he clearly doesn't trust me enough to tell me what's going on. So, you know, I just need to move on and let him go and find someone that he can trust. But he is all his eggs are in one basket with this service provider who's ripping him off. But he won't listen.
Well, we will leave it there. We need to do another YouTube series / podcast on that one.
Yeah.
Because
it's registered service providers that are doing it as well.
And can we also say we are absolutely grateful for the NDIS.
Oh,
it's only a minority that are doing it. There's absolutely amazing stories that I'm going to go
success.
Hunt down.
And there's fantastic success stories out there of how it's helped people, you know, step out of their homes and get a community around them, and, you know, be going to groups and doing things like that. You know, this is fantastic things. The NDIS possibly wasn't handled well in the first place, and, you know, we know that they threw money at people, and here, take this and look at this, and oh, you can have this, and everyone's got that expectation that's gonna continue. But the horse has bolted.
It has.
And they're trying to round the horse up, and it's in the back paddock. So, you know, we've got to get it back to a level where the horse is at, you know, at least in the front paddock and listening. So
the cult from old regrets has really got away.